okay. Okay. Welcome to South Hills. My name is Adam, and this is my wife,
Gretchen.
We are the campus pastors here at our South Hills Corona campus. We are so glad that you decided to join us, but we also realize that not everybody goes to church every single week. This may be your first time at this church or at this type of church, and so we just wanted to begin by giving you a little bit of what to expect from your experience here at South Hills.
As you walk onto the campus, you'll probably notice there's a station that has donut holes and coffee and water and tea, and you might be wondering, who is this for? It is for you, and it's all free.
The coffee is delicious, and we taste
Yes.
tested the donuts.
We did.
We took it very seriously. We went to all the donut places. These are the best ones.
And if you brought a child with you today, I highly encourage you to check out the children's ministry. It is so fun. Each classroom has crafts and games and worship and teaching.
But then they break down into these smaller groups where they get to talk and be listened to and cared for by an adult who knows their name and is interested in their story. Once you've grabbed your coffee and donuts and checked your kids in, you'll move into the auditorium and you can sit wherever you want to. There are no assigned seats here.
We also have the full service live streaming in real time that you can watch from the cafe, from the lobby, or even the parents' room that's right off the lobby.
We'll begin our service with a time of worship, which is a churchy way of saying we're going to sing songs together about who God is and his love for us. And we want to encourage you to stand and clap and participate.
And you don't have to have all the words memorized. We will have them all on the screen for you to follow along.
One thing you'll notice about our band is that they're very passionate and energetic, which means they can sometimes get kind of loud. And so if it's a little bit too much for you, there are earplugs in the lobby available upon request. Then we're going to give everybody an opportunity to give with us. We may even tell you some stories about how your giving is impacting our community and rippling out and even transforming the world at large.
Then we're going to share with you some events and activities coming up right around the corner, but you don't even have to wait for that. You could jump on the Church Center app and check it out for yourself.
Then someone will be out to share a message from the Bible in a way that is hopefully interesting and relevant to whatever you're going through right now.
And I encourage you to get something out to take notes, whether it's the note sheet provided for you or the notes app in your phone. There's going to be something that stands out to you today that you're going to want to remember. And although we take scripture very seriously, we don't take ourselves that seriously. So if something strikes you as funny, feel free to laugh along and enjoy yourself.
At the end of the message, we will have a brief time of prayer, and we hope that it ends up being an hour that is exciting and fun and interesting and inspiring, and that it's something that after you leave, you look forward to coming back and experiencing with us again. If you have any questions about anything during your time here, drop by the big Connect counter sign in the lobby, and there's someone there that can answer any question that you might have.
Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the service.
mercy's wide, 'cause you're gonna promise. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good it works. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. Come on, 'cause you're good on your promise. You spoke, and the chaos fell in line. Well, I know, 'cause I've seen it in my life. It's a narrow road that leads to life, but I wanna be on it. It's a narrow road and the tide is high, 'cause you parted the waters. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good it works. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good it works. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. 'Cause you're good at your promise. I know you're good at your promise. You're good at your promise. You said your love will never give up. You said your grace is always enough. You said your heart would never forget or forsake me. You said I'm safe. You call me yours. You said my future's full of your hope. You've never failed, so I know that you'll never fail me. I want to hear you sing it. You said your love would never give up. You said your grace is always enough. You said your heart would never forget or forsake me. You said I'm safe. You said I'm safe. You call me yours. You said my future's full of your hope. You've never failed, so I know that you'll never fail me. I'll take you at your word. Come on. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good it works. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good it works. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. 'Cause you're good on your promise. I know you're good on your promise. Good on your promise. I'll take you at your word. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generation. So why would he fail now? He won't. I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense, so I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful in every season. So I would leave him now. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. No, 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 no. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So I would leave him now. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Oh, rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Yeah, I'm gonna make it through. 'Cause I'm standing strong on you. Yeah, I'm gonna make it through. 'Cause my house was built on you. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So I would leave him now. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't fail. I remember how you provided, how you held me through the night. And I remember how you sustained me when you stepped in to save my life. If I knew then what I know now, I would be still and let you work it out. Jesus, I was tossed in the water, but I never went under, 'cause you were always on time. And Jesus, when I went through the fire, you were right there beside me, 'cause you
big part of our faith tradition is this process of looking back over our lives and revisiting the moments in which God came through for us and reminding ourselves that if he did it, then he can do it again. And we see this all through the Old and New Testament. There's all this talk of looking back and remembering God who freed people from Egypt. There's this thought of like, if God can swoop in and rescue an entire group of people from being enslaved, he can take care of whatever it is I'm facing today. And how many of you, like, as you look over the course of your life, God has seen you through and delivered you from some stuff in your life? Yeah. And the reality of it is, if he did it, then he can do it again. I think that we have this problem, a lot of us, with selective amnesia, right? We bump up against something where we really do need a breakthrough. We need a miracle. We need something to move us out of where we are to where we need to go. And we just feel like, man, this is going to be the one time that God doesn't do it. And we forget that God has already done it. And I just want to encourage you this morning that God's timing is always perfect, but it's not often what we want, but it is his best. And I want to encourage you this morning that whatever you're facing, whatever you're going through, whatever is overwhelming you, the God who delivered you last time will deliver you again. The God who came through last time will come through again. The God who did the miracle before will work another miracle again, because that is the God that we serve. And I hope you tuck that hope in your heart today, because that is what is true, even when it doesn't feel true. So before you sit down, would you just turn to somebody near you and just say, like, if he did it before, he can do it again. You can have a seat. Some of you are introverts who are like, that was the worst thing ever. Why did you make me do that? I hate that. And some of you are extroverts, you're like, that was the highlight of my week. I could have talked to 7 different people. You already got to know somebody's life story in that 1 minute window already. Congratulations. Well, I just want to say, especially if you are new with us here this morning, you're just checking things out, somebody begged you to come or bribed you to come, we are so glad that you're here. In fact, can we give a huge hand for all of our first-time guests that are hanging out with us? I just want you to know that we believe that you are here on purpose. I mean, you might have think that like you just kind of coincidentally ended up here, but we really believe that God loves you and he wants to demonstrate that to you by surrounding you with people who are imperfect just like you are, who have found faith in Jesus, and it's changed everything. And we hope that today you have an experience that transforms how you think about God and the world and yourself, and it pushes you into living your life on a higher level when you leave here today. And in fact, we want to give you a gift just for hanging out with us this morning. And so if you were just checking things out, there's actually a QR code behind me. And if you scan that with your phone, it'll bring up just this little quick form. I think there's like 2 questions on there. And if you answer those, it'll send you an email. And if you take that email back to the Connect counter in the lobby, they will give you a free gift. Spoiler alert, it is a Starbucks gift card. And so you can get whatever you want to with that. And so, man, if you brought somebody today, make sure they scan this QR code. Maybe you are at a place where you're like, I'm anti-technology. I've seen all the Terminator movies. I'm scared. I don't do that. There is a paper card in the seat back in front of you. And so you could grab that, fill that out. Same thing, take it to the Connect counter, and we'll give you a free gift. For everybody else in here that calls South Hills your church home, I want to give you an opportunity to give with us this morning as we continue to worship together. I'm going to invite our ushers to come forward and pass the giving buckets. And you can give through the buckets, you can give through our giving towers on the way out, or you can give electronically through the Church Center app. And if you haven't gotten a chance to download it yet, you can actually scan this QR code. It'll take you right to the giving place on the Church Center app. And you can give once or set up reoccurring giving, whatever works for you. And we really believe that it is a privilege to get to be a part of a church family. And being a part of a family means you get special privileges, and it also means that you have certain responsibilities. And one of our responsibilities is to take care of each other and take care of the church that God has given us to steward well. And part of that is through serving, and part of that is through giving. And so every month I like to give you guys an update on where we're at with our giving. Our budget goes from summer to summer, and so it is the beginning of July to the end of June every year. And right now, this is where we are sitting with our current budget. The red line is where we want to be, and so we're very close, which is great. It means you guys have been giving consistently and faithfully, and we are so incredibly grateful. We've got about 10 weeks left until the budget cycle is over, and our goal is obviously to get to that top mark there. And so I want to encourage you, continue being faithful. And maybe those of you who have just started to come consistently and man, you're like, you know what? This is my place. This is my church family, but I've never really given to a church before. I've never done it really consistently. I want to encourage you to take that next step of giving, even if it's just something small. Because being invested in the place that is your spiritual family, everything that happens in that place becomes even more meaningful when you are contributing to what is happening there. And I'm telling you, every testimony feels like a bigger deal because you're like, man, I helped make that happen. And I think that's how it's supposed to feel. You know that you're a guest when you just come and you just sort of take it all in. But when you're family, you contribute. At least that's how it works at my house. If you're a guest, we just feed you, and you hang out. When we start handing out chores, that's when you're family, okay? And so it's a privilege, but there's responsibilities, but it's a big deal. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of our church family because it empowers us to do so many great things. Like last night, we hosted what's called the Gratitude Gala. And it's something we do every single year in partnership with Olive Crest. And so there were foster families from all over the Inland Empire that came here, people that have brought kids into their home to foster or adopt them and taken care of them and show them the love of Jesus by moving them into their homes. And we got to give them a night off. We took care of their kids. We fed them a huge meal. I got to encourage them with a message. We gave them like gift bags and just celebrated them. And it was all possible because of your consistent giving. We get to honor people who are doing incredible things in our community, and that is because of you. And I think you should give yourselves a hand for that. It was a big deal and a huge night. And it was awesome to get to see parents who are really doing the difficult work of taking care of kids that they didn't birth but have become part of their family, and the tears in their eyes of being given a gift of just a night to be celebrated, and you did that. And so thank you for that and so much more. We have an incredible service for you still, and I'm believing that it is going to be something that you're going to carry with you through the week that is going to change the way you live your life from here on out. But before we get into that, check this out.
Hi, my name's Jess, and I'm so glad you're here with us at South Hills. Whether you're here in person or checking us out online, we hope you feel welcome and enjoy today's service. Ladies, we all know that life is super busy, no matter what phase of life you're in. And while we all want to grow in our faith and deepen our relationship with God, sometimes it can be hard to know where to start or what that even looks like. And that's why I want to invite you to Valor 2026 on May 9th at 10 a.m. Valor is our annual women's event for women of all ages from middle school and up. This year's event is designed specifically to help you make room for God in your everyday life. We're hosting a super fun morning, farmers market style, with delicious brunch treats, some fun make and takes, an inspiring guest speaker, and a unique worship experience that you don't want to miss. Tickets are $40 and increase to $50 after May 3rd. Register today by scanning the QR code or visiting the events tab in the Church Center app. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and one of my favorite Mother's Day traditions here at South Hills is child dedications. Raising kids is hard work, and there's no way we can do it all on our own. We need a community to support us and our kids as they learn to become healthy people who follow Jesus. If you'd like to dedicate your child, scan the QR code or head to the Church Center app to register. If you haven't downloaded the Church Center app yet, make sure you do it today. It's the best way to make sure you're up to date on everything happening here at South Hills. If you need help downloading the Church Center app, head to the Connect counter in the lobby. Thanks again for being here today as we continue in our series, Mind Games.
Good morning. We're going to continue this series that we've been in for the past couple weeks called Mind Games, where we're talking about the way in which it is really difficult to sort of get control of your thought life. And I think a lot of us, we have tried to streamline our thoughts. We've tried to get victory over our thoughts. We've tried to build a relationship with Jesus, but the hardest thing to do is to keep the mental bully that lives in your head from beating you up consistently. And so we've decided to spend 5 weeks just talking about really the 5 things that most of us play mind games with ourselves about, and we hate it, but we don't know how to get out of it. And so we've been tackling these one at a time, and that's what we're going to do again today. And so I want to encourage you, take some notes, write down some things that seem interesting to you, or, man, you're like, I want to think more about that. Hopefully there's something that you can take away that you can apply to your life that will help you live a fuller life because of it. And if you are taking notes today, the title of my message is, I could never do something like that. I could never do something like that. I think we all have these moments where we look at what somebody else is doing and we just think like, good for them. I could never do something like that. I wonder if you've ever accidentally talked yourself out of something that you were initially really excited to do, but you talked yourself out of doing it in a matter of minutes. It was like at first you were kind of like, you know what, I can do this. I got this, right? And then immediately after there was this other voice inside of your head that was just like, well, what if I can't do it, right? Like, what if it doesn't work? What if I hate it? What if everybody hates it? What if everybody ends up hating me because of it, right? What if this decision that I'm about to make is the wrong decision, but I don't realize it until after I do it, and then it starts to unravel my life? What if today and the thing that I'm about to do that I really have no business doing ends up being the starting point of when everything falls apart in my entire life? You know what? I cannot do this. And everybody around you is like, just pick a froyo flavor. You are holding up the line. Right? Because you are frozen in your own thoughts. How many of you, like, you have ever been accused of or even realized of yourself that you're a bit of an overthinker? You just overanalyze everything, every decision. For some of you, the idea of picking ice cream really does feel overwhelming. They're putting all kinds of new flavors out there. I mean, lavender's getting into stuff it doesn't belong in. Is anybody noticing this? I don't understand it, right? That's supposed to be in lotions, not ice cream, but that's just a personal thing that I struggle with, a frustration over that. But I think for all of us, maybe this feels absurd, but maybe for you, your inner critic is so loud and harsh that it causes you to question everything you do, because you are afraid that you're going to screw up, mess up, do it wrong, and ruin everything. And because of that, it's so hard for you to move forward and do something, even if you believe it's who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. You doubt everything. And it's so annoying because you look around at the rest of the world and other people, they don't seem to have this problem, at least not at the level that you do. Like, they don't have the hesitation. They can just pick things and move forward. They can take next steps. Like, there's a confidence in them that you don't seem to have. They have this ability to just go for it. And you're like, you don't have any of that, like, what if this ruins everything thing? And they're just like, what are you talking about? And you're like, I didn't mean that. That's just a joke. How are they doing it? Where does it come from? Because the voice in your head is not saying the thing that maybe other people have. Like, you've never had that moment in your mind where whatever voice is in your head grabbed some pom-poms and was like, you can do it, right? Your voice doesn't sound like that. Your voice says things like, you are not smart enough for this. Like, I don't even know why you think you could even try. I mean, they would never give a promotion this big to somebody like you. Just so you know. Also, nobody wants to hear what you have to say. So just keep your mouth shut, okay? I mean, like, what you have is not going to add anything to this conversation. Your opinion is stupid, and nobody wants to hear it. You know that dream that you have? It is way too big for you. And so you might as well just let it go. I mean, if somebody actually wants to date you, there's probably something wrong with them, okay? And so you just don't know what it is yet, but it's in there. There's something crazy. And if you investigate long enough, you'll find it. And if not, you can make something up and project it onto them later. Some of us, no matter what it is, we just believe that it's not for me because I can't do it. And psychologists call this catastrophizing. It's this phenomenon where we interpret any inconvenience as a sign that we're doomed to spectacularly fail. And this is why some of us, any obstacle that we hit, any complaint that we receive, any like hiccup that happens, we're just like, well, that's the sign. That's the sign that everything is going to fall apart. And we can jump from like little objection or little obstacle to end of the world so fast it spins other people's heads. But for us, it's just a Tuesday. We're like, man, I better pass. If I fail this test, I am never going to pass this class, and then I'll never graduate, and I'll never get a decent job, and then I'll be selling my body under a bridge for food stamps. That's the next logical step, you know? And your friends are like, I mean, you're in the 4th grade, so maybe just like calm down just a little bit, because this has plagued you for quite some time. You're like, man, if I don't recover quickly, from this procedure, I'm never going to get better. And this is just going to be my life now. And I'll probably never walk again. And your mom's like, I mean, it's a root canal. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to walk. If that becomes an issue, they worked on the wrong part of you. And you're like, anything could happen. Anything could happen. I've seen things. I've seen news articles because your brain goes there. You catastrophize everything. And it feels like it's so obvious to you that once the first domino falls, that's where it's going to go. Everything is going to fall apart. And it prevents you from doing a whole lot in your life. Where does this come from? There's this phenomenon called learned helplessness that I think has a lot to do with why a lot of us end up here. And it's this thing where past trauma actually convinces you that nothing you can do will help you. This theory comes from this really old experiment that was done by 2 psychologists in 1965, where apparently there were no rules on the type of experiments you could do. I mean, this was the Wild West of experimentation, and some of you are going to be upset that I even brought this up. But essentially what they did was this. They took several dogs. Some of you are like, I don't like this already. I don't like this. And they put them in these little cages that had a dividing wall in the center of them. It was like a little half wall. And they would ring this bell, and they would send an electrical current through the side of the floor that the dog was on, sending a shock into that side of it. And I mean, you're not a dog, but what would you do, right? You would be like, whoa, and then you would jump over the wall to the side without the shock. And that's what the dogs did. At least half of them did, because this is where it gets really rough. They actually put a harness on half the dogs that actually strapped them down on the side with the shocking floor. And this meant that no matter how high they tried to jump, no matter how much they fought, they could not leap over the wall and escape the pain of the electrocution. And these dogs watched some other dogs around them leap over the wall and get to safety and be calm, but they couldn't. And they fought, and eventually these dogs who had the harnesses on just gave up and stopped trying. They realized there was nothing they could do to escape the pain, and so why even try? And every time the bell rang, even before the shock hit the floor, they would cower and begin whimpering and crying because they felt like they were doomed. They were trapped. And even when they took the harnesses off these dogs to where they were actually free to leap over the wall, they had been so conditioned that nothing they could do would make any difference that they didn't even try. They learned that they were helpless to break free, and so there was no use. And I wonder if you have ever been in a discouraging situation before where you tried to fight back and get away and set boundaries, but like nothing you did really worked. And in fact, some of what you did actually made things worse for you. And after fighting and realizing it was no use, you just gave up. And you were like, you know what? This is just how it is. This is just how I am. This is just how life is going to be. There's no way out. I'm stuck. And when you have these sorts of experiences, you have enough of them that stack up in your life, you start living according to self-doubt. And self-doubt bullies you into believing that there is nothing you can do to change your story. So why try? And now, when you are faced with what everybody else seems to think is a really great opportunity, it doesn't feel like that for you. It doesn't feel like an opportunity at all. It feels like a trap. It feels like a setup. It feels like a cruel joke. It doesn't feel like an opportunity. It feels like the universe trying to make you feel even more worthless than you already do. Because for you, life isn't this amazing adventure that you get to unravel. It's an electrocuted floor that you feel strapped to, and you're just trying to survive. And as sad as that sounds, what's even sadder is more of us feel this way than maybe you would assume. There was this recent national poll that took place about a year ago, and of all the people that they interviewed, 50% of the 20-year-olds they talked to said that their lives were exciting. Only 46% of 40-year-olds said that they felt like their lives were exciting, and for 60-year-olds, the number drops to 34%. So statistically, the more life you live, the less you like your life. How sad is that? Like, shouldn't it be the other way around? That the more life you live, the more you like your life? Why isn't it that way? I think it's because for many of us, the longer life beats us down, the less we believe there's anything we can do about it. And you stack up so many experiences where you feel like, it doesn't matter what I do. I can't get ahead. I can't find somebody that I click with. I can't seem to move forward or break free from this or overcome this thing. There's no use. And in fact, I think this is so common that we see it everywhere, and not just in our day and age. We see this all over Scripture as well. I think this is exactly what has happened in the life of this character that I want to highlight today. There's this story I want to read a piece of to you today. It's found in Judges chapter 6. We're going to start reading in verse 11 about this figure named Gideon. And it says this, that Gideon was threshing wheat at the bottom of a wine press to hide from the Midianites. And the Lord appeared and said, "Mighty hero, the Lord is with you." And Gideon replied, "If the Lord is with me, why has all this happened?" You ever said something like that to God before? God is trying to encourage you, and he's like, "My daughter, I love you." And you're like, "If you love me so much, how come I haven't found a man yet?" Okay, what's going on? Like, "You are my son in whom I'm well pleased." And you're like, "If that's true, how come I have so much debt? Because I can't find a good job." What's the deal? Like, God, if you really loved me, if you really cared about me, why would I be going through this? Why has this happened? I don't get it. If you love me, you just give me what I want. And I think that's exactly where this guy is sitting. And maybe you're wondering, well, what actually happened to him? The Midianites had been essentially tormenting and torturing the Israelites, Gideon's people, for years. They stole their crops, their homes, their villages. And so Gideon's people lived in constant fear of when is the next shockwave going to roll through? Like, when are these people going to show up out of nowhere and take something else from us that we've been fighting for our entire lives? And so when God appears to him and calls him a mighty hero, it feels like an insult to him because he's learned his entire life, like, listen, there's nothing I can do to change this situation. I've tried, my family's tried, my father and grandfather's tried, all my neighbors have tried. We've all done everything we know to do. Nothing works. This is learned helplessness. Like, these people have dominated him for so long that he has come to believe the only thing to do is to hide and accept your fate because nothing you do is going to make any difference. In the very next verse, verse 14, it says, "Then the Lord said to him, well, just go with the strength you have and rescue Israel from the Midianites. I'm sending you. But how? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe, and I'm the least in my entire family." God's like, you got it. And he's like, no, I don't. God, what are you talking? You and I both know I am not good enough to do anything important. I feel like just the fact that you even told me to is just you making fun of me. This doesn't feel like an opportunity. This feels like a trap. This feels like a setup. And it's not just me who thinks I suck. Everyone does, okay? Ask around. Take a poll, okay? They'll tell you. I'm the worst. And chances are you've been here too. In fact, research shows that 60% of us struggle with overly negative thoughts from our inner critic consistently on a weekly basis. And we all seem to tell ourselves almost all the same exact things, like, I don't fit in, nobody gets me, I'm not like them, I'm not like other people, there's something wrong with me, which means I can't do it. I can't do what other people can do because I'm not like them and I don't have the capacity they have. I'm doomed. This is my life. I mean, as it turns out, a lot of us think we're the worst, which is not mathematically possible, by the way. That's not how statistics works. Like, if most of us, 60% of us think we're the worst, then most of us are actually wrong because there can only be one worst, which means, ironically, if you think you're the worst, this just tells you that you are average. You think you're the worst just like everyone else. And so Gideon is explaining to God while he's the worst. And God's like, no, I know how math works. It's not you. God's like, you can do this. And he's like, no, I can't. And the thing that makes me wonder is, like, why is it that we think God knows everything about everything except us? We think that God is the creator and sustainer of the universe. We trust his advice on life. We trust him to forgive our sins, to allow us to get into heaven. We trust that he's in control of the universe. But as soon as God tries to tell us something about us, we're like, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you know me very well, God. No, you don't understand. I'm not good enough. You must have got the wrong number because we're talking about me, and I can't do that. Do you really think you know more about you than the one who created you? Like, a lot of us are convinced we do, and you don't. But what you can do is override God's voice with your own inner critic. And a lot of us have been able to do this. We have experienced so many things in our life that have convinced us that we are helpless, that even when God is like, I've got you and you can do this, take the first step, we're like, no, God, it's not going to work. You don't understand. There's nothing I can do to change my story. You see, like, the most powerful voice in your life, we want to believe that it's God's, but it's really yours because you can override God's voice with your own inner critic and begin to believe a lie even when God tries to tell you the truth. And Gideon is fighting the same battle that so many of us do, but eventually Gideon does sort of decide to go with God. I mean, several verses later because they have to fight about it for a while. So Judges chapter 6, verse 27, it says, eventually Gideon did as the Lord commanded. He takes the first step in the direction God wants him to go in. But it says he did it at night because he was afraid of what others would think. He was like, God, I can't, because even if I do this one little thing, everybody is going to mock me and make fun of me, and everyone's going to think that what I did was stupid. And here's what's interesting. He was right. They did. I mean, if you read through the story, he did exactly what God asked him to do, and when he woke up the next day, not everyone liked it. In fact, most of them didn't. The whole village was mad at him. He feels like a failure, and he's like, God, why did you tell me to do that? I knew this was going to happen. I told you, and I was right. It didn't work, but it did work. It just didn't work out the way Gideon wanted it to. And sometimes when we take the step in the direction that God is asking us to, we're like, it didn't work, and God is like, you're right on track. And we're like, what track? Because this is not what I wanted to happen. Because we have to relinquish control to God, and a lot of us don't want to take the first step until we know all of the other steps. We think like, if I've taken the first step and I don't get the reaction or response or reward that I want to, then maybe I don't even need to be on this path. I think a lot of this is because we've just seen too many movies. We've seen so many movies that we believe that, like, if this is really the right thing for me, as soon as I take the first step, someone somewhere around me is going to start a slow clap. They're going to be like, and it's going to be kind of like that, where only 5 people join in, and then I realize, like, wait, I started my own slow clap. That's not exciting. If you have to convince people to do it, that's not what I wanted, right? This is not going the direction. We think like, man, if it's what God wants me to do, then everybody will agree with it, and they'll be excited for me, and everything will go according to plan. That's how you know something is backed by God. What Bible are you reading? Like, that is not how these stories go. The majority of them, people take the step God has asked them to take, and it gets a little bit worse before it gets better, because God is teaching them to trust him. And I'm just going to tell you, because I know some of you are looking at this movie clip and you're like, what movie is that? And you're not going to be able to pay attention to the rest of this sermon. It's Cool Runnings, one of the greatest sports movies of all time, about the Jamaica bobsled team, and you should probably watch it this afternoon. You want to know what's actually real? If you do the thing that God is asking you to do, some people are going to like it and some people won't. That's how it works. But if you need everyone to like everything you do, you are never going to do anything. You are going to constantly be waiting around to make things perfect, but since you can't make things perfect, you will wait forever, and you will never take the first step. In fact, I think God actually allowed things to go down the way they did, the way that Gideon didn't like, to help reframe reality for Gideon, to help him see, like, listen, when you took that step, it wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be, but guess what? It wasn't as bad as you were afraid it was going to be. In fact, you're fine. You're still here. In fact, you're better off than you were, because you're one step ahead than you were just a few minutes before. And honestly, this is how you silence your inner critic, by defiantly doing what it says you won't survive and seeing that you're still alive on the other side. The famous painter Vincent van Gogh once said that, like, if you hear a voice within say you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. And this feels credible to me, because you know this guy was hearing voices if you know anything about his life. But what he's saying is very true and is backed by scientific research, because what is real is that you actually begin to believe you are what you see yourself do, because actions inform identity. In other words, your brain, as it observes what you are doing, begins to believe that that is who you are becoming. And when you stack up enough evidence that you have done certain things, you begin to believe that you are the kind of person who does those things. Which means when the inner critic says, like, you're not a painter, another part of your brain is like, well, how can that be? What's with all these paintings in my garage? Like, how do you do that many paintings and not be a painter? You don't know what you're talking about. And that's usually when your wife comes in and is like, are you talking to yourself again in the mirror? And you're like, yes, but I'm right this time. And you have to be, because both voices are you. But the truth is, anyone who does anything that they've been afraid to do, they didn't miraculously become fearless. They just did it afraid. And if you're waiting around to just that moment where God just removes your fear, you were waiting for a day that is not going to come. God does not want to remove your fear. He wants to steady you to move through your fear, to trust him in the midst of it. Because the truth is, no one believes they can do hard things until after they do them. We all think, I could never do that, until we take a first step and a second and a third and a fourth, and before we know it, we look back and we've done the thing we've been telling ourselves we could never, ever do. And you are forced to believe that you can do it because it's already been done. But for a lot of us, even after we have taken a couple steps, we still feel anxious afterwards. We still feel like, you know what? Okay, I had enough courage to do the first thing, and that didn't, fall apart entirely, and I did the next thing. But if I do anything more, that's really when things are going to get crazy. I mean, these have been baby steps, but if I take a big step, that's when everything's going to fall apart. And that voice of our anxiety doesn't just dissipate because we've done 2 actions to try and defy it. And this is where Gideon is sitting. He does a couple little things for God, but these are tiny steps. What happens when he takes the next big step? He's afraid. So he fights with God a little bit more. It says in Judges chapter 6, verse 36, Gideon says, if you are truly going to use me to rescue Israel, prove it. Tell you what, I'll put a fleece on the threshing floor, and if the fleece is wet with dew in the morning, but the ground is still dry, then I'll know. Weird ask. I mean, kind of a weird thing to challenge God on. You ever do that? You're like, oh, okay, God, if you want to use me, I double dare you to do that, right? As if God is going to be like, oh, no, he double dog dared me. What am I going to do? As if God is afraid of any challenge that we could come up with. And essentially what Gideon says is he's like, oh, all-powerful, holy one, here's my challenge for you. Make this sweater wet, but the ground around it not wet. Good luck, God. Nobody defeats a wet sweater challenge. It's never been done. And you guys aren't going to believe this, but God actually did it. God was able to take and conquer the wet sweater challenge. And so Gideon was like, okay, yeah, but you only did it once. And so I got another challenge for you. And he comes up with another challenge for God, which also involves wet sweaters, because he's not very creative, right? And it's just another variation of the same thing. And I don't know why he's so into sweaters, but it's just what he does. And I think this is really interesting because I don't think this is really about sweaters at all. I think this is just about what we do when we doubt ourselves, when we have learned that there's nothing that we can do to change our story. I think people with a lot of self-doubt put out a lot of fleeces. In other words, they regularly test the sincerity of anyone who claims to believe in them. They're like, listen, I don't believe I can do it, so if you believe I can do it, you're going to have to prove it to me. And then they get a little bit of proof, and they're like, okay, well, I don't believe that, so you're going to have to prove a little bit more. And they demand more proof. And the people that are cheering them on wonder, is there anything I can ever do that will convince you that I believe in you? And you want to know the real answer? No. Because no amount of reassurance will ever be enough if you've already decided that you'll never be enough. No outside voice can overpower the decisions that you've made and the things that you repeat with your inside voice. If you actually want to tunnel out of self-doubt, it is an inside job. But Gideon decides that he is going to trust the voice of God over his own fearful gut. And as the story goes, his faith and his ability to do what God asked him to do grows with every small step of obedience that he takes. And over time, God transforms this fearful farmer that's cowering on a threshing floor into the mighty hero that God always knew he could be. And maybe you're thinking well, that's great. Good for him. What about me? What about the thing that I feel like I can't do? And this is where I feel like the writings of the Apostle Paul in the New Testament are really helpful. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, he says this, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, I do want to give a caveat to this, because this doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want to. This means that you can do whatever God asks you to do, right? So if you're like, I'm going to start a drug empire, probably not going to be blessed by God. He's not going to strengthen you to do that. But if there's something that God is inviting you to do, or a step he's pushing you to take, God will never ask you to do something that he will not give you the ability to follow through on. And that means the pressure is off, because it's not up to you. You're only responsible for your obedience. God is responsible for the outcome. Which means if you take that step that he's inviting you to take, what happens because of it is up to him. And sometimes we're like, I don't want to take the first step because what's going to happen next? And God is like, take that step and I'll tell you. And we're like, tell me and I'll take the step. And then we go back and forth forever, and we end up just standing still. But if you take the first step, even when you are afraid, you can remind yourself, like it says in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. In other words, your fear of failure is not from God. That's not something that God put on you. That is something that the enemy has convinced you that you have to be a slave to, but it's a lie. What God puts in you is the power to do what he's inviting you to do, with a deep sense of his love for you and the ability to think clearly. And maybe you're thinking like, okay, but how do you fight those fearful thoughts? And I think Paul has some really great advice on this too. I think that's part of the reason why God let him write most of the New Testament. He has a lot of really insightful things that all came from God. He says this in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5, that we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. In other words, we proactively put fearful thoughts in their place. Now, pay attention to the language here, because it's very intentional. Like when Paul says that we ought to take our thoughts captive, I don't know what comes to your mind when you think of taking something captive. I think of kidnapping. Probably because my wife makes me watch a lot of true crime documentaries on Netflix. And some of you are like, ooh, I haven't seen all those. Abducted in plain sight. We're not watching Cool Runnings. We're watching these. And I'll tell you, I've learned a lot from watching these movies with my wife. First of all, I have learned that she could probably kill me and get away with it. And that frightens me, okay? And the second thing I've learned is capturing somebody is a lot of work. There's a lot of watching and waiting that goes into it, a lot of paying attention to patterns. You got to make a plan. You got to show up prepared. You're probably going to want to dress in all black. You're going to want to wear a ski mask and some really quiet shoes. You're going to need a pack of taser and probably a net or a blanket or something, okay? There's a lot of work that goes into this thing. And I bring this up because I wonder, how much ongoing effort do you invest in capturing your thoughts and making them obedient to Christ? Or did you really think that one trip to the prayer corner one time was really going to do it for you? Did you really think that 40 years of telling yourself you can't do it, 40 years of learned helplessness, 40 years of you believing that you're the worst is somehow going to evaporate because you went over the prayer corner and one person prayed for you one time and you did a devotional one time the next week? That's not how it works. God can rescue you in a second, but it takes time to renew your mind. It's something you partner with him on. And I wonder, are you taking this seriously? Are you watching and waiting and paying attention to your own thought patterns? Do you have a plan, or are you just hoping that you will know what to do when the time comes? Because here's the reality, you won't. You have to train yourself to quickly identify toxic thoughts so that you can chase them down and tase them and shove them in the trunk of your car or whatever the metaphorical mind version of that is. And so let me outline what I think this might look like. And this is going to sound crazy at first, but both Scripture and science agree on this. This is the process that I would encourage you to take. The first thing is to personify the voice of fear in your head and give it a name. Mine is Skeletor, after the villain in He-Man. The second thing is to personify the voice of faith and to give that a name. Mine is Bruce, obviously after Bruce Lee. And then when fear speaks up, picture faith speaking back, right? And like you guys know, like Skeletor is no match for Bruce Lee. I mean, is anybody? No, that's not going to work. And then no matter the conversation that unfolds, act on the voice of faith even when fear won't shut up. And if yours is anything like Skeletor, he never will. This is the best way I know how to explain it, right? Have you ever seen like one of those cartoons that has like the little angel on one shoulder and like a little devil on the other shoulder? It's like that, okay? So you got to picture that for your own life. Now, I did my version. You're going to have to do your own, right? And you imagine them sitting up there having their conversation. And let's say that you're in the middle of a moment where you're observing your own thoughts and you're ready to take them captive. And then Skeletor speaks up and he's like, this sermon illustration is stupid and childish. Are you even a real pastor? And like Bruce is just like, hey, no, it's not. Okay, it is a little bit stupid and childish. But also, sometimes the most ridiculous ones are the most memorable. See, I told you, mental illness will help your job, right? And then he roundhouse kicks Skeletor right in his like purple chest protector. Or like whatever, again, the metaphorical mind version of that is. And the three questions I think that you could arm the voice of faith in your head with that are really helpful to counter that inner critic voice are these three questions of, is it true, is it helpful, and am I overreacting? Like, this is how you arm Bruce Lee to do battle, or whatever your version of that is. Like, is this even true? Right? If I fail this test, am I really going to end up under a bridge? Probably not. Okay, that's not even close to being. It's so improbable, right? Well, is it helpful? That's actually not helpful. It makes me scared and then it shuts me down and I'm not doing anything effective. Okay? Am I overreacting? Probably, because you ate 3 pints of ice cream for breakfast. So like, that's a little bit much. And it helps you right-size your thinking patterns. And the way we begin to move our mind in a different direction, the way we begin to win this mind game is when your inner critic pummels you with fear and negativity, you counter with the voice of faith backed by God's authority. But this only works if the statements of faith you tell yourself are true and you repeat them more than you think you need to. Because your brain is too smart to believe a padded, made-up, untrue, positive affirmation. You ever tried that thing before where the voice in your head is just like, you are chubby and no one likes you. And you're like, that's not true. I'm not chubby. And in fact, people often mistake me for Brad Pitt. And your brain is like, well, we know that's a lie. Right? The more accurate thing would be that voice saying like, hey, that's not true. I mean, part of it is you are chubby, but lots of people like you. Brad Pitt's overrated. See, that is a helpful voice of truth in our head. And I just wonder, like, what could you do through Christ who gives you strength if you stopped believing that you were helpless and started believing that God was helping you? And that small steps of obedience will grow your confidence, and that you can do what you are afraid to do even while you are afraid to do it. Because what I genuinely believe from Scripture is that you can take your life back. that you are not stuck, that your trauma does not have to dictate the trajectory of your story. And all you need is the courage to take the next right step. You don't even have to feel like it. You can just do it. In fact, most of the people that begin moving their life in the right direction feel like doing anything but taking the first step. But they summon the courage and the strength of the Holy Spirit to do it anyway. And observing that they've taken that step, they believe they can take another and another and another. And before they know it, they look back and realize they have partnered with God to take their story in a totally different direction. They can't even see where they started from. This room is full of people like that. Like some of you, even though you were hung up on the part of your storyline right now that you think you cannot overcome, the reality of it is, where you are today, you never would have thought was possible 10 years ago. But you took one step after another in God's direction, and He empowered you to do what would have been impossible on your own. What your learned helplessness told you, you would never be able to do. And now today, you are a completely different person. You are a new creation for whom so much more is possible than you have allowed yourself to believe. And I wonder what would happen if you just decided to take the first step. This is what I want to pray over you today, that God would help you conquer your self-doubt by believing the voice of faith over the inner critic's voice of fear in your head. Skeletor doesn't have to win. Would you bow your heads across this room as we pray together? God, I know you see every person here. You know our stories intimately. You know the things that we have walked through and been through. You know the self-doubt that we struggle with. God, some of us, we feel so trapped in the lives that we're living today. We feel trapped in our doubt. We feel trapped in our self-hatred. We feel trapped in our stuckness. We feel trapped in our addiction. We feel trapped in our feelings. We feel trapped in our patterns. And we have come to believe that there is nothing we can do to change the trajectory of our story. But it is not your voice that has made us afraid. In fact, the voice of your Spirit is saying, you are a mighty hero. You don't feel like it. You haven't yet observed it, but it is who you are. And if you believe what I am telling you about you, you can follow me into a future that looks nothing like your past. And God, I pray that we would take hold of these tools that you have given us today. And God, that we would put them into practice. And as we partner with your Spirit, you would help us to take one step after another in the direction of our fear that you are leading us through to something so much better, that we would embrace the destiny that you are calling us to. And God, that as we get a month, 2 months, a year into the future, we would look back and be amazed with how far you have brought us, because we are not helpless when your Spirit is helping us from the inside. And it is. And so God, we ask that as we do what you are asking us to do, as we are obedient to you, that God, you would bring about the outcomes you intend. And God, we would be blown away by what you do in and through us when we believe you over our inner critic. Do this and so much more. In Jesus' name, amen.
What an incredible message. I love this message, especially as someone who has a very loud inner critic. And I really hope that you guys this week take that homework step and do those 4 things and name those voices in your head. It is a really powerful tool, and I promise you it is life-changing. And I'm sure that for a lot of us in here, we need that. We need something to reorient those voices in our head. And if that's you, or maybe you're just going through something and you want to talk to someone, or maybe you'd like some prayer for something, I want to invite you over here to our prayer corner. There's some incredible people over there who would love to just sit and talk with you, to pray with you, resource you in whatever way they can, to just be there and support you for whatever you're going through. So if that is you, please take advantage of that. Otherwise, if you are interested in signing up your kid or a kid you know for Extreme Week, you can head to the Cove to get more information. And we will see you guys back here next week for more Mind Games. Have a good week.
depths of me when you're next to me. Ooh, I feel an energy in the depths of me when you're next to me. Oh, I surrender control. Oh, let it enter my soul.